only person over there. Instead, the rest of this is coming into Marco.
Yeah,
who's sat with just a classic, has to give the site. By the way, Devi's got a sheriff in this round, so why not?
I mean, I love it. Fast plays around. RB's trying to catch, again, just the backhead ahead of Forsaken when he's rotating back. The plant's already down. What's the post-plant position? It looks like they want to refight up a ramp already. It's going to be 5 players stacked up towards main, and they're trying to fight for control of this one. Nobody is left onto the site. Got the one pull.
That stun is quite nice.
Yeah, one pull for the spikes, so they still have a bit of time pressure as
no
well.
No one from PRX on the site.
Yeah, no one from PRX at all on the side. They do only have the one pull. They have to clear this. RB is gone down. Buzz, though, has to stand his ground, has to spray them down. He does claim the one. Already, players are weak, sticking onto the diffusers. Yes, but they don't have control of main. This Mind Freak to clean it up. Absolute chaos.
Wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, PRX are always going to have moves like this. They love dynamic post plants, which means that they don't just go into these same positions at the end, you know, one in elbow, one at ramp, that kind of thing, creating crossfires. They like to move around in post plant situations and put pressure on the retakers. It's one of their biggest strengths and something that I think a lot of other teams in the world need to catch up with, DRX included. But what a start there as Mind Freak picks up 3.
Yeah, what a beginning. I mean, by all of our expectations, you know, Something was doing so much for this team. There we go. Bit of an aggressive play on the eco round here for DRX as they try and clear through, but they have just been
very clean.
Turned into mincemeat, haven't they? But yeah, all expectations, you know, just to finish the point that I started, really should be that DRX are taking this series, but a strong start for PRX. They've only had 10 days of practice. Josh, you asked Alex earlier.
Yeah. Yep, and, you know, Alex likes to be humble. He likes to underplay things, but he did say could have gone better. Now, CGRS is coming in here to play Initiator. You heard from the desk earlier a little bit of a breakdown of this player, and he is mostly a Gecko main, but he has been known to play some of the other Initiators, and obviously picking up the Sky here as Forsaken moves over to fill in Something's role. Forsaken, too, is going to be probably the most important person, in my opinion, because he's replacing Something on a jet role that he started to struggle with towards the end of when he was playing that primary duelist. And he's talked about how sometimes when he picks up duelist, his brain turns off. He said he plays brain dead when he plays duelist, and he's actually quite liked playing the flex role because it forces him to think and call more, and he thinks he plays better like that.
It's part of the reason why he was taking up the mantle as well of being almost, you know, primary caller, not quite. It is evenly spread as a satchel with the flash as well. It's all combined together, and yeah, they're not wasting time. Stars have to be activated. Buzz seeks to again reinforce it up. That boom bot was again just drifting around the corner. There's nades sailing this way, that way.
He's in the right city for it, that boom bot.
Absolutely. The snake bites at the feet though will slow this one down. PRX get a bit bogged in the choke.
And this would be a nice round for one of the PRX players to have started over at A and get a lurk off. You see, RB and Stax considering it because the rotate was extremely fast from DRX. Devi, I mean, he's heading in that direction, but he's going to take a long time to create any pressure over on the A side.
About 50 seconds in a round, though.
CGRS sends in the flash, which means he doesn't have one now for another 30 seconds, I think. That was the timer. That takes away a big tool and doesn't really tell him too much. But it looks like Devi's going to be the player that's supposed to open this site up for them. Yeah. The spike is just so far away.
The goal is, what it seems at least, PRX make noise towards B, send in the flash of a spam there. Mind Freak was trying to drag over the rotations, which is quite successful. You can see the DRX players.
It's very dangerous crossing RB here. I mean, he might just jiggle and back up. Now he's going to stun and refight, and that's going to make it hard for Mind Freak to cross with the spike.
Yeah, that's a really great decision. Recrossing up onto the angle. There's 12 seconds remaining. The spike is dropped down. It's an unwinnable situation for Devi. Keep the rifle going. You've just got to save it. So a successful bonus round for DRX. You know, the aggression at the beginning towards B main doesn't quite pay off. They couldn't grab the openings like they were hoping for.
And PRX will throw in these kind of ideas where, you know, you don't know whether they're going to explode instantly or whether it's just a play for B main control. Well, I feel like most teams in the tournament, Brent, run a lot of slow rounds, and then they'll use that to occasionally throw in a fast one to throw you off. It is the opposite with PRX.
The opposite with PRX.
They will throw fast round after fast round and then throw in a slow one, and suddenly you're like, wait, where'd they go?
Exactly.
Where'd they go?
The crazy thing about PRX is I thought they were going to trend away from this playstyle. Playing fast 80% of the time after, after Copenhagen.
Yes, yeah.
When they lost in the finals. But,
they lent into it.
They lent into it more. They just went further in. The all-in aggressive playstyle.
And picked up one of the most cracked prospects you could possibly find. Gutting that he hasn't been able to make it here for their first match, but PRX will be looking to try and do what FPX did at Copenhagen, in fact, since you bring up the tournament. So this one is slow. This one's slower.
Yeah, really just put the pace down to a bit of a crawl. I'll be playing that common heaven position as well. Normally you see, Jet and Sky players, they will play here with the double duelist comps. But we were talking about it even before we went into the game, Josh. The idea behind it, the stuns are quite good at delaying. Now you start to see them taking a significant amount of space towards ramp.
Yeah, and they're stacking a heaven here because Buzz is on the monster lurk.
Oh yeah, he's got the timing for sewers. I mean, he's going to be able to surely get a kill. It's all about the timings, though. They're already exploding out into the side. Stacks with the anchoring. He spots many. Buzz just trying to get a knife out to play his timing, but footsteps abound. Enough noise cues were made, but it is cleaned up. Mako just, again, makes himself known onto the side, swinging out from heaven.
Buzz makes the play, though, that wins the round, in my opinion, even though he doesn't find a kill off the back of it. The info play with him and Mako doing that mid-round deep push down mid. They get all of the information in the world, and Stax is ready to collect this. He informs Mako to rotate too. I mean, DRX knew what was happening here. And that's going to be part of this match, is that... You've already won the round, man. You don't have to be mad about it. There's so much history between these two teams. So much. They've played 9 maps. This will be the 10th this year.
Yeah. That's part of the reason as well when the, well, enough about a bracket I was about to discuss. There's already a fast play out with a showstopper. Jing in there, not getting too much value. The dash then comes in a little bit later. It's the 1-2 punch of the duelist and attempted a trade, but Buzz just is that guy. Rocket online, fires it into the smoke, blind fire, but the rest of his team now starting to converge on the position. Mindfreak, okay. Yeah, Mindfreak spotted out there with just the jump spot divide. Maybe he can get a bit of space here towards heaven. Tap through the wall.
Nice ideas. I think he's giving Buzz a haircut. But the spike is down in no man's land. I say no man's land, it's actually DRX's land. It's very deep in enemy territory.
Absolutely.
And it's Buzz that has won them this round, assuming Mindfreak isn't going to be able to commit some kind of heist here and somehow get away with the spike. Oh my god, the timing there is just so brutal. RB threw down his... Yeah, threw down the fast line and then just looked the opposite way.
30 seconds
It offered him the one. Mindfreak, though, on 47 health. A single bullet will really bring him down. It's a doubled up, high-low setup. He actually spots both of them, hoping for it, but no. Straight through the wall to the cranium. That's Buzz. Again, being a difference maker. When these fast B hits come in, there's just so much utility that can be used to try and slow them down. Now, Buzz, of course, he's got his nade that he can use at the beginning there. That's just a raw gunfight that's being in place. But they also have the volleys as well that aren't really being baited out. I'd like to see PRX, I think, explore towards mid a little bit and try and drag out some util before they go into the big fast hits.
You've got to remember that PRX are working on a very low amount of practice here with this version of the roster. The way that Forsaken and Jing take fights a lot of the time is heavily influenced by an aggressive Sky player. Some maps that's going to be Forsaken, some maps that's going to be Defy, but you know, CGRS just doesn't have that level of practice with the team. We were talking about it with DRX in all of their previous games, how difficult it is for them when they chop and change the scrim times and the match times with Foxy9 and with Zest. Well, it's even more difficult, I think, with PRX because they don't have a large history of playing with CGRS in the roster to lean back on. He just has to kind of find his moments to slip on in.
Not like you can use the old server time, the old preparation. It's really just building it from the ground up. I mean, you can plug and play like kind of what they're doing with CGRS playing that initiator role, but it's taken Forsaken off of that kind of like the third player in role almost when he was playing the Harbor for them in a lot of compositions. I mean, we'll have to see later on if they do stick with it, but yeah, it's kind of like, you know, to put him back, thrusting him into the limelight with the duelist role, and you know, as we've said before, Forsaken said he sometimes turns his brain off when he's playing Jet, when he's playing as primary duelist. It causes him to almost regress in terms of that and his calling capabilities.
It's going to be a thrifty here for PRX. Divide the other player with a rifle. And they're going to start out slow, just contacting behind this wall by the look of things. Trailblazer, really standard. And this is where RB's Neon looks great, because those stuns, I mean, he can get away quickly, sure, but he could also stun to refight in that situation, which Jet can't particularly.
Yeah, repositions back towards Heaven. Further back as well. First snake bite going to be used, a dash backwards from Forsaken. Trying to play for his life here. Jing is quite pushed up. RB seems to be quite aware of the possibility. Another stun. Minute down, all the players grouped up here. And again, it's these deep flanks. Zest, look at all that space he's just getting there. Into market, he's going to be calling the entire time to his team. He's like, guys, there's no one around this area of the map. Most likely still sticking around A. Now the util starts to fly back and forth. Taking a bit of space into Heaven. What is the pathing going to be here? You just never know with PRX. Ready for them though with the snake bite. Buzz, crossfire setup. Inside the smoke in his face. The nade there, they're trying to chase him all the way down. Satchels to avoid and adjust. He is being swarmed, isn't he? Mako goes for a bit of re-exploration. Mindfreak was holding that down and he's still in position. He's dinking players all over the place. It's a real test for the observers. How are you going to catch all of this? It's all over the place, man. Zesto with the rifle. 2 necessary kills, but the site has been gained over towards B. Time was running short. They're going to be able to get this plant. And Mindfreak, look at this guy. Like a fox in the pen.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the positioning there of all of these players. Zest on his push through B main makes a very sensible, nice read. PRX, chaos, anarchy. Let's try and really mess with their protocols. Push into spawn, prompts this play. Buzz gets caught even though he was trying to be as aware as possible. Then Mindfreak is up in A Heaven, freaking their minds.
They really just could not remove him.
That's an amazing thrifty to get PRX back into this one.
Already the series just is, I mean, it's
fun.
It's fun, man. Always a pleasure to cast a PRX here. Here we go. There's the exploration in mid. So I was talking about this a little bit earlier. They force out the nade. They do have to use their Trailblazer because of it, but they don't take any space. They're just backing away here.
Look how aggressive DRX are on the defense. Whether it's B main or A main, they're constantly prodding and looking to see whether it's free and they can push. I feel like Zest may well get caught here, though. Is he just going to tuck in this corner? It's a nice spot to play with a judge, to be fair. So maybe the action will happen over on A ramp instead.
Yeah. Mindfreak might choose to take adjustment. RB, well, by jumping up in the air, firing off the molly. He was an easy target. Inside the smoke, though, Forsaken is leading the charge for his team. So he's taken up that space already. They've gained access to the site, but they don't have Heaven control. It's lost for them right now. Spike planted safe behind the position. Have to use the Seekers now, letting that one loose. Gives him a bit of notice in terms of where some of these players might be.
Mindfreak only had 1 star and he used it to smoke Heaven, so he doesn't have a pull on the plant right now.
Silent drops down, makes a bit of noise here. Cosmic Divide cuts through into the site. Now you start to see it. DRX moving forwards, high ground position. Forsaken still holding it. He's got the dash back and enabled. Brought down though, but the trades are online for them, and it's left just down to Mako. Lovely movement. Slight jiggle there from Jing, sets him up beautifully for the aim duel.
PRX are really finding their openings around the map here. Jing, 10 and 4 right now. It feels currently like a battle between the Raze players in terms of who gets more impact in the round. Jing's been good for it.
1 enemy remaining.
DRX are trying to play aggressive up at the extremities because that's really good if PRX stack one side of the map, as they're prone to do. But actually, what that also means is that sometimes Stacks and RB aren't in the greatest position to hard anchor the site, and they just kind of get bullied away and access is given. Another timeout being used, this time on the side of DRX here. So both teams have used 1 at this point.
I do wonder how this will change now with the timeout, because, like I said, I wanted to see PRX, explore a little bit into mid, pull the util out, and then re-explore another area of the map afterwards. It worked out in that round.
DRX have got a tough decision here on whether to force up too.
They do. Yeah.
RB has his ultimate, but other than that, the economy's a bit stretched, so they might also be taking this time out to discuss some kind of tactic that's going to allow RB to use his ult at the beginning of the round and push aggressively. There, take a look at the money on the bottom left. We'll see whether they invest into this or go for a half buy. Yeah, it looks like a...
yeah, half armor. Everybody can buy for next.
Well, yeah, and it is a half buy. They've got 2 stingers and a judge here, so they haven't gone... They could have bought, I believe, 4 rifles and then just had RB use his ultimate, but maybe they don't have fast plays like that in their playbook.
Yeah. Got to remember as well, as we've been mentioning, DRX with this roster, it's been chopped and changed, and the amount of preparation and practice you can, in theory, is quite limited. Zest with the jiggle peek. Oh my god, they are so fast up and across their placement. Forsaken, it's on point with it. Dashing forwards though, Judge in the hand of us. His dash, stun, still takes the aim duel. Straight up close, and he shreds them with the pellets. Claims 2 kills for his team. How does this get salvaged? Devi around the back as well. The tight squeeze on all the remaining players as DRX attempt to flood in. It's shut down.
Calm face from Devi towards the end. Feels like Forsaken's waking up in his entry role too. He started this map 1 and 4. Since then, he's gone 4 and 1. So exactly opposite level of performance. Another round where Buzz has outsized impact, but DRX still not able to close it out. But we're going to head into a rifle round after this. Remember, that was just a half buy for DRX, despite the fact that they had some dangerous weaponry on board. And this is now 3 in the round that they need to find an answer.
Flash misses, I think, actually. I went towards the left instead of through the main choke. Still PRX not shying away from it. They want to try and play fast. The Boombot spots it. That's just through the smoke. Jing! Can't be getting away with that, man. Get out of here. The showstopper. It's an easy one. 3 kills in the round.
That's unholy.
What is he doing? Running and gunning with the Vandal, a mockery.
Well, that's that round over. You got no chance if Jing's doing that through a Viper wall.
Yeah, we'll see if 6.11 fixes it.
I mean, that's off the Boombot as well. He does have an idea that there's somebody there. It's a good read, too, to realize that people are playing that close by. But, yeah, when the bullets are going perfectly like that, it's PRX's day, I guess. And I do feel for the DRX guys. I really do, because they're in this kind of situation. And a lot of people are looking at it thinking, there's actually a little gun barrel that pokes through there too. So a lot of people are looking at DRX thinking, well, I mean, they've got a great setup here. They get to play against PRX with one of their best players, if not their best player, missing. This should be a nice path through to have a banger match against Fnatic. But actually, I think all of the pressure is on them here. If they win, it doesn't really prove anything. It's not a full strength versus full strength matchup. It's great for them to be able to advance through the bracket, but it doesn't really feel as sweet, I would imagine, the revenge. But also, if they lose, it's a disaster. It's a very tough position. It's kind of a lose-lose.
Yeah, going down to that lower bracket. I mean, the competition has never been higher at any international tournament. In terms of the caliber and quality of these teams, just a lower bracket. I mean, you've got Loud waiting down there, man. I mean, it's crazy. So another half buy for DRX. Do still have the danger. They kept the 2 rifles going. That dog does connect right around the side. Stacks is spotted. Still maintains his control. They want to try and refight this. That's the old overdrive. Ripped out in the hands. RB is going to try and open it up with a bit of galvanizing. Still, it's Forsaken on the high ground position. A flash play. Smoke at his feet. There's danger in it. Everybody's running out of bullets. And it's just silly.
I mean, that's amazing stuff. I really respect the discipline there from PRX too. They had an opportunity to dive into the site and try and punish Stax, who got tagged by the Trailblazer, and instead they knew that there was a reactive play happening over towards ARAM. And they paused for a moment and made sure they fully dealt with it.
Just feeling like he has to make a play. Only so many rounds left in the half with that rifle as well. He will fall.
And so far, PRX are winning almost all of their rounds by just battering A. It's just A ramp pressure, A main pressure. And DRX can't figure out a way to hold on. I thought that Neon here would be extremely useful to land some deep stuns in and be able to just take fights. And instead, they can't find the right timings to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Just the mid-game love heart. That's a new one instead of the fist bump.
I like it.
Coordination.
A change up here, though, in terms of the default. That almost pays dividends instantly.
Yeah, Forsaken trying to punish. I imagine getting a read as well, knowing that Zest has been jump spotting that early on. Swaps it out, though. That was just Operator to his side, still has the rifle as well. And this is quite slow and spread out. Making noise in almost every area of the map. It's only Devi who's really playing quite slowly, trying to creep up towards A main. Took a timing there, actually. Devi's going to be calling that the Trailblazer was just used. If he dodges his flash, he doesn't. Okay. Could be problematic.
He gets caught.
But he did call that the dog didn't see. They forced out the Seekers. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the entirety of the util being used by Stacks. Do they still want to go off of this? RB seeks to reposition as well. Closer, trying to anchor onto the side of Knives. Out now with the dog. Satchels forwards. Over the top. Up in the air. The right click with the regen. Still damage is done. And it is 2 for him. Forsaken's there. Buzz right back at it. But 3 for Forsaken on 4 the ace. What more can he do? There's the trade. Where's the 5th? He wants it. He can feel it. Zest shuts it down. So the 1v3 to Pit. Drop down, doesn't know what a crossfire position is. Isolate one of the fight. Here's just Devi. 1 versus 1. Devi low on a 4 HP. A bit of spam will do it, Zest. What a moment to come alive. Denying the ace and potentially grabbing the round. Just needs a bit of luck. There's no shot. With the Phantom, the spam. 20 bullets left inside. Time running so damn short now with the decay kicking in. Devi. Blessed by Lady Luck, hasn't he? Really getting away with that. Any one of those bullets could have landed, and it would have been an absolutely miraculous round from Zest, but...
If you want proof that God is a PRX fan, contrast that round to where Jing got 2 up in A heaven by spamming through the Viper wall. Some days, it just ain't working for you. And Zest, I think he played that as well as he really could, spamming reasonable positions. Just couldn't quite catch Devi.
And again, fast towards A. Satchel laid down ahead of time. There's a stun actually used to push this back, but there was a flash on top of that, so towards main. Both the stuns actually being used now. Again, updraft. Ground position here. Jing eager to take a fight. It's RB who swings into him actually. What timing! Rips out the gun in time.
How's he managed that?
And Buzz falls. Is he going to be that difference maker? Stacks close position where he's anchoring, not winning the aim duel, not against Forsaken. This guy is popping off right now.
Last player standing.
Any attempt.
Forsaken's individual turn-up has absolutely flipped my expectations for this team without something on its head. How dangerous this duo looks. 15 kills apiece for Forsaken and Jing.
They're feeling it.
Wow.
9-2-3. I mean, it's just sheer domination on the half. DRX unable to withstand any of that A main pressure that was going at them. Multiple rounds in a row.
Meanwhile, CGRS is getting put in the backpack by bottom fragging king sub.
Don't worry. It's like, no, your util's good, your util's good. Don't worry, you're helping well.
Exactly.
That's the first half of Split. What a strange series of events. Is this really how we're expecting things to go? I'm not too sure, but DRX is going to be definitely scrambling for an answer. Let's send it down to the desk to break it down so far.
Thank you very much, Sideshow and Bram. We were worried about something not being here, but Bala, did we all just forget that Forsaken exists?
That's a good question, because this guy dominated 2 4Ks, what, in the last 2 rounds? Just insane stuff from him. It's the type of level that you remember from back in the day when Forsaken was that guy on this team.
He's still that guy, but let's take a look at Verizon high-speed moment from that half. Round 8, Kakuka, talk me through this.
Yeah, exactly. I believe this is one of the executes that we're going to get for PRX. I thought that there was a lot of them. Of course, Forsaken is going to be the first one in, but he's not the only force. Buzz is going to find a couple of kills here, but everything happens in the gist of what, like 30 seconds, an entire round. Everybody is rotating. The sandwich comes also from mid, and the round is over. Very PRX style.
I just love how they're able to pinch dynamically in that situation. Devi on the late flank through Heaven is just so perfect in that situation. That is the type of thing that is constantly so good with PRX, and that is working. You're seeing multiple 2vx situations, 3vx situations that DRX is not having a way back into these rounds.
We have seen the score line before. I think that things can change now on the attack. We were talking about the Neon and how probably that is going to have an impact. We need to see the same that we saw from Forsaken and Jing, now translated to Buzz and RB. I think that RB had a better idea at the beginning of the map, but as it was moving forward, I feel like the intention that he had on A, he wasn't really accomplishing, and Stax was burning utility way too fast to actually last for the entirety of the round.
I mean, you're asking a lot here on this 9-3 half for this comp from DRX. I think it's just a worse version of the Jet Raise that actually works out here on this attack. It's a very tough task.
I mean, we got to see what they can do, right? Let's see as we send this back to Sideshow and Bren.
Yeah, let's find out as well. I mean, it really does feel, you know, as Desk was saying, quite, you know, plug and play, removing the Jet. You put RB on a comfort role of the Neon. They have played Neon in the past on Split when it was a solo duelist comp. So they do have some ideas, but we'll see just how good it is and how fleshed out it is on this attack side now. In theory, lots of stuff that you can do, but with how PRX are playing and how on point Forsaken and Jing are, what a difficult task.
They did play Split in the regular season. DRX ended up coming out on top, but that was when PRX had just started moving their roster around a long, long time ago. We know the history of these two teams and the history of the rivalry, but we had really no idea what to expect today. And even those slim expectations we were thinking about have not played out. The pressure's on DRX here. Very different tempo to start. An extremely spread default where they put down a little bit of pressure over here into B main, so they feel confident about taking this. Did that see something? It feels like it might have just popped up a couple question marks.
Yeah, maybe getting a read on the minimap there just from the tail end of it. And Flash also confirming the suspicions. They got the noise cue, so they know that there's at least one player there. We know, of course, it's a heavy group up, maybe setting up for what was the 4-1 split, now looking like a 3-2.
And Forsaken's very deep in A main, which means PRX are allowed to put 3 on B.
Interesting stun, rebounds towards the side as a glide, and a nade used in response here. A lot of damage done. RB's going to be low. There's a nade of their own, Buzz using it, but no one's actually really popping out of the smoke. They're waiting for Mako and Zest to get in position. It's really disjointed here. Jing being shot from behind. No one was covering his back. The slow play, well, it works out with 12 seconds remaining. Time was running so damn short there, but they do a good job, DRX. They cut noise adequately enough, whether intentional or not. Really, I mean, I think it was just because they were forced to wait for the Heaven players.
But the timing worked out.
Yeah.
And again, patience being beneficial for both of these teams. Forsaken was the player that was putting pressure over in A. He's forced to try and win a 1v5 here, which I think is going to just be a little past him. Well,
spotted out where the potential reswing was, but yeah, 30 health.
Extraordinarily difficult situation, and a very good start here for DRX in this half. They obviously needed the pistol to mount any kind of a comeback.
Yep.
But I think the desk might be right with this being, you know, attack-sided on Split. You saw the stats as well, that they tend to win about 60% of their time. I think a little more than that on the attack side. Historically, this is a fantastic map for DRX. It used to be, you know, back when they were Vision Strikers in the very early days, it used to be their absolute best. I think they still boast something like a 90% win rate all time on Split. But of course, the theme of this match does seem to be, history doesn't really matter. It's what happens today.
And expectations, toss them out the window, because really, I mean, everything was against PRX. Still plenty more of the map, though, to go, potentially, so
absolutely.
See if DRX can turn the tide. I mean, they get that pistol round, like you said. Pretty important.
And CGRS is going to be a player that is taxed quite a lot on defense, I think. On the attack side, as we see DRX going into B, on the attack side, CGRS is just going to be feeding, you know, utility for his duelists and can rely on Forsaken and Jing calling that. I think mostly Forsaken calling that out. But on defense, CGRS is going to be asked to do a bit more on his own, especially if Forsaken dies early in a round, or if he's having to hard anchor A. Got to pick his timings for the defensive info utility. Definitely something to keep track of.
Smoke to get themselves in the satchel with a shorty up close, but everybody's getting mowed down here. Interesting that, yeah, PRX, they don't go for... Okay. Damage done, but time is running so low. That's a shorty. Not the weapon of choice, but take whatever you can get. But yeah, interesting that they didn't opt to, you know, wait and spawn, go down to the spike, send it all flying, hoping that maybe they could make it a bit winnable, but...
PRX have never lacked ambition.
Yeah, they certainly have.
They will go for them.
Yeah.
So, DRX with a chance to convert some kind of bonus. This is where you would usually see DRX cooking up some kind of set play, where both duelists barrel down mid into male, or they explode onto the A site. But thus far, it has been quite slow for their attack side. Oh, here comes RB.
Okay, here we go. Stuns, flashes. Absolutely blinded up, Jing! How is he finding that? Satchel to the side. He's grabbing all of them. Mindfrig also seeking to contain. And again, stop that pressure that was going through into B main. Forsaken did lose his life earlier. That's a wide double face. Mako, he does trade a necessary kill, but he's left alive in a 1v2. Does have the spike. By the way, there's only 25 seconds that have passed in this round.
What a difference to some of the teams that we've been watching at this tournament. Both of these squads quite happy to increase the tempo when it's required. Mako using the Trailblazer audio cue there, realizing that CGRS is looking for information and routed to the spot, so he's happy to just run through, catch a little earlier of a timing.
He has a ton of time to work with here. I mean, like I said, Mako, he's got the pieces to make something of this. Not the health, really, but...
He really is the rock that his team relies on.
Yeah. See that influence in his play at times as well. You know, when the team's not doing too well, he feels like he needs to step up, but man to man, he pulls off some insane moments with insane consistency. I really did for a second there. The crosshair placement was looking quite good, but no, he gets brought down, so PRX will be the first team to get to 10.
So we did see a bonus round tactic there from DRX. Very fast play up through B heaven, but well responded to by Jing. He backed it up using a blast pack. And to be honest, the spacing difference was enormous between RB and Buzz.
What the fuck, how you hear that?
Buzz couldn't really follow up on what RB was doing there. And I imagine we're going to go back into some slow rounds, though they're set up again for a similar kind of mid pressure on attack.
There's a lot of space cleared out just from the Trailblazer. Yeah, didn't check down into sewer, so Mako still lurking there. Goal just to be setting up Forsaken onto the A main angle so nobody can lurk. So he is past the, you know, the Viper wall. That was really what they were intending. Mid as well, could be some back and forth exploration potentially, but yeah, time ticking down still.
Mid is such an important part of the map for DRX to control, especially in this round where they have Seekers. It's just going to be so useful for Stax if he uses them in that kind of spot to tell where PRX is.
This is so risky from Jing. He sees it, the shoulder, and it's a wider face by Buzz. He's immediately there to capitalize and punish it. Still, they want to try and play fast off this. DRX taking that B heaven control. Did lose a player in the process. Devi, he's got to try and anchor it down. Mindfreak being swarmed. Smoke was propped up though. He managed to get the utility off. Needs to hold this smoke as well. And he has created a bit of an opening. Drop down. Where is the trade? It's nowhere in sight. 6 bullets towards the back. RB is playing it with patience. At its core, this could be momentous. Slow it all the way down, son. Don't reveal anything. Finds it. Brought it to a 1 versus 1. He expects it as well. He knew where CGRS was. Spike's picked up 14 seconds. Lands the shot. 3 kills. And he salvages it.
What a clutch. What incredible trigger discipline there. More too easy than 2Es. He did not make that same kind of mistake, same error, and pays off massively, that discipline and patience that he shows. I was all ready to sing Devi's praises too because he played that round phenomenally.
Yeah. And you write that one down?
No.
That's off the dome, is it?
I mean, you can't be telling me you're watching RB in that situation and not just thinking of 2Es.
Yeah.
And
that was an amazing moment.
Here.
There's the half buy for PRX. So Economy really taking a knock after losing that one. DRX really bringing us back, or at least the possibility of it. I mean, they're winning the necessary rounds, but you've got to keep it together.
DRX have never got a read that PRX are only leaving one player A. They're using CGRS's utility to just, most of the time, rotate off.
So here we go. Satchels. Again, another glide forwards. White face. Mindfreak still alive and kicking, but not for long. RB is there. Duelist player dropping down into hell. It's cleanup duty for him.
He's looking crispy with it.
Yeah, he really is. When RB's firing off like this, he's on a comfort roll. It's a good sign.
Best
Taken wants the rifle. Smoke to cut up the angle. Not quite a rifle, a stinger, but maybe he can do some damage with it. Yeah, bit of mistiming with that one. Wanted to get set up by the flash, but ain't gonna go with it. This is clean though from DRX. I mean, CGRS really no chance at all with just the classic or with the sheriff.
The ace.
Going for it. Wants it, and he's got it.
That's a crowd pleaser.
There's somebody chanting ace as well.
Yeah. But PRX still have a 3-round lead, and they're coming into this next one with rifles and all 5 ultimates. The team's going to take a tactical timeout too, as Coach Alex has his input. But to be honest, I don't feel like there's been too many major errors from the way that PRX are playing this on the defense side. However, there are tendencies to dig into here. DRX have been going B a lot. In the same way that PRX were favoring A ramp and A top control, DRX have been putting a large emphasis on B. But I think the current way that PRX are playing their defense side makes sense. They're using the Sky utility to just set up Forsaken, then CGRS rotates off a lot of the time, and they have like 3 towards B, 2 towards mid kind of setup.
Just can't quite anchor it when the side hits start to come through.
Yeah, and also you had RB with a fantastic clutch play, which, you know, he's not going to be able to do that every time. Just because you lost the round doesn't mean you played it badly.
Chances for PRX though to get back into it, using that last time out. Look at the amount of ults they've got online. Forsaken buying up the operator as well, potentially another answer to what's happening with, you know, the slower beginnings, these very wide spread out defaults for DRX. Just poking and prodding. Maybe there's something there to punish.
Yeah, not just that. Devi's got his Viper's Pit online and a Judge, so I would not be surprised to see him just rip that in B main to start. However, yeah, I mean, DRX have not really been playing fast in B main.
Viper's Pit in B main. Here's a showstopper, an exchange of all sorts of utility. It's all over the place, man. Jing still, he did the damage and he cleaned it up.
He's cleaning up his own mess there. RB had a phenomenal dodge and yet wasn't able to reset the aim to actually punish that showstopper from coming through.
That ult needs a buff or something. I'll tell you.
He just got 2 bread.
He did. He set himself up quite nicely. Mindfree with the jiggle. Lays down the star. Oh my goodness, almost goes down because of it.
Yeah, he also didn't have the pull to be able to work with. So he had to, it was kind of too late on the timing there.
Plays up the util. Seeker's being used.
It's going to be so difficult to end B in this spot though because of Devi's ultimate. It just doesn't seem doable.
It really doesn't. That's probably why they've just slowed it down again, making sure that they explore up into mid as Mako, who's gained this position.
And it's a bad flash.
Well. He's pushed all the way deep, and yep.
Wow, that is so unfortunate. CGRS just used his flash in A-Heaven to make sure Forsaken was safe from that spot, and Mako dodged it somehow. Maybe with the Viper Wall?
It's a free plow. Stacks gets that one down, 3 versus 3. Viper's Pit online. Place that one down into the elbow choke, and look at that area that it's covering. This is brutal to get through. If you are PRX, got to pray for some of that Jing RNG, I think. Maybe with the run and gun as well. Hope you collect an easy kill, spamming into the corners here. One upside is everybody is playing in the pit, so there's always that potential. You've got to land your shots properly. Flash round the side. Decay kicking in makes it an easy kill to claim. Mindfreak forced to back away and save.
And that is an enormous round for DRX and Mako. There's the hold. I was talking about how I really like the way that PRX were playing their defensive side, and they were just posting up Forsaken on A main. Now, obviously, he's weak from that mid-split, but CGRS was still spotting it with utility. I don't know how Mako quite dodged the flash that came through the Guiding Light. Was he around a corner or something? I'll see this in the replay.
Here we go.
What?
That is okay. I
He
mean,
just activates his wall as he hears the audio cue, and even though it's half bloomed, it gives the false info because he's behind the wall. I mean, that's crazy that that's what turned around. Shout out the replay observers for catching that one too.
yeah, that is nasty as well, though. Mako immediately capitalizing off of it.
What a phenomenal play, and instantly recognizing the advantage he had there. That's part of what makes Mako world class.
Now you're starting to see, gonna turn up the heat, haven't you, Forsaken? Straight up into it, taking the fight to
revenge.
Mako. That's a bit of a read, I think, that they know that Mako was playing so slowly towards that area. 2 players in sewers. The sound wave, Forsaken! Absolute genius at work here. Grabs the one, doesn't quite get the third. Still, he's made this more than winnable. Oh my god, okay, CGRS, why not? Go for it. Hot flash play around the side, but Buzz wasn't really blinded up. Double satchel now. Makes his mark. His claim as well towards the site. Got to try and get this spike down, but important to note as well, they do still have a main control.
And they have a pull that can go on the spike here. Buzz with a showstopper.
Flanked as well, though. And there's a fight taking place on the site. Buzz, 3 in a round for him. Got to get a bit of a move on. And I think Mindfreak running. No, he slowed it all the way down. Him versus Zest is quite important, and Zest falls. Now they know, should be at least 2 players onto the site. PRX starting to put the squeeze on into elbow. Maybe some util to set it up. Showstopper's forced out. Trying to make something from this one. 55 health on Buzz. He'd love a kill from this. Again, just waiting it out. Time is ticking. It's getting shorter and shorter. Have to let rip. And you have to find some kills. Mindfreak, he wins his Defy. Follows up, and just in time. Just in time, man.
Yeah, I mean, they had only 3 seconds to spare, something like that. 2.5, not even. And yet, once more, what I'm appreciating from this map with these 2 teams is that despite the chaotic moments, the players are so smart at know that they can play the clock, use it as a resource, and win things out. What a huge one for PRX to be able to take away.
Yeah, amazing play.
That's another one where it's a bit of a broken bye too. They've been almost perfect in those low eco rounds.
Yeah. It's been odd, hasn't it? Both of these teams really just excelling at the attack side so far, but not much breathing room if you are DRX. I mean, 2 more chances, or 2 more rounds. That's really what needs to be gained for PRX, and they can convert this map.
And something we haven't really discussed too as DRX take a tactical timeout. I think it bodes mentioning that one of the big reasons why DRX have been able to run Zest is that they lean back on old compositions, old strategies. They haven't had much scrim time with him. They've only started playing with him. Termi was saying in a press conference, basically as soon as he started subbing in the lower bracket finals against T1, they weren't practicing with him before that. So that's not very long to cook up a deep playbook with a new composition like this, one that they haven't played before. I feel like, I could be wrong here, but I feel like every other map we've seen them play an old composition or something that they've played recently, something where Zest would be comfortable and understand exactly what was going on. This is different, and their attack side still looking decent, but it's a deviation from the norm of how they've been able to maintain success whilst messing their roster around.
Now here's a difference maker. It's been slow all up until this point, but now our Trailblazer leading them in the side, forcing out the snake bite, nade towards the back, and a flash. Defy is in a lot of danger, low enough that it's a stray bullet to Buzz as well as he does lead the charge for his team. He's in there towards elbow. CGRS, what?
That's unfortunate.
Mako, crazy.
That'll happen.
Yeah, still nade in the hand of Jing. He's cleared out towards main. Wondering if he is going to get refought out. Seeker is broken. Here's the nade. Rebounds over towards the side, trying to force this fight out. Again, Mako is just elite. Only the one before it's traded. Mindfreak, 1v3. Doesn't know where anybody is. Buzz seeking as well to collect and wrap around entirely.
And PRX still smiles in the camp there. 2 ahead as DRX attempt to mount a comeback. That's a fast pop where really the round should have been. Yeah, I mean, take a look at that. He barely sees him and flicks around. It's one of those instances where it's unfortunate for CGRS. I mean, he's 5 and 14, but it makes sense. He's a substitute player. He's coming in here without any scrim experience apart from what they've been able to put together just recently. They played him for 1 map, I believe, in Pacific.
Let's see if PRX again get away with murder on their half-buy. This is exploration into mid. Deep contact play at the beginning, seeing if they can hunt for a kill, but don't get too much done. In fact, just spotted out. No reaction from DRX, but now you're starting to see them go a little bit. Boombot, Dog, I'm away, making sure to clear some of those angles. Divide, still playing his life. Going for any sort of one and done, so they give them the side entirely, while this flank also starts to really pay off. This flanks again on flanks, because Zest is also just in the middle of mid.
I mean,
way far apart.
Every A-hit, Zest has just been sat AFK in market playing the pull and then going for the latest lurks possible. So, I mean, that's how they're working him in this roster.
Retaking that main control, pushed up. Together now, heavy group up onto the side. These DRX players, could be some danger, absolutely. Satchel plays still with the rifles. Is it going to be easy sailing? Mako. To stop from this aggression, they double face though, and they have handed Forsaken. One of them with the dash back online, rips out the Sheriff, tries to take the fight. RB, it is magnificent, but they don't know where Zest is. With time running this low, it's been played well.
The final layer. Zest just having so much faith in the rest of his team that he'll be able to go on these long, late lurks. And RB stepping up. Forsaken couldn't quite get the reload off there.
Yeah.
He's mid-reload, dashes, and then swaps over to the Sheriff. Stops him from being able to get the trade kill off properly. But then again, he hit that one, so you can't be too mad with what happened.
This is nasty shots. I think as well the time pressure there. They know that Zest is playing with the pull as well to delay. They have to go fast. Yeah. Into the side there, so they can't really wait around and reload. It's the right call to make in the moment, and almost doable, but yeah, Zest playing RTS mode.
This is a major comeback for DRX. High-low setup for PRX.
It's just that one round, as you mentioned in Josh. Bring it nice and even. What a comeback. The high-low setup, it pays off, doesn't it? It's an opening kill onto RB.
I love that. PRX have been running it in Pacific too a lot of the time.
There.
Very good against the DRX team that's going to try and take that space before bursting.
Just an innate understanding of the timer of that one with the Boombot. Duck to the side, but the purpose of it was really just to fake that A pressure and presence, and it's a re-clear called again by PRX. They're just contacting down into mid.
Yeah, CGRS also missing his flash there, so they're worried that somebody could be deep into A heaven. They're actually giving, or being forced to give DRX all of this space.
That's the second flash used. This time a bit of an indicator, but no more to play off of. They don't know if Heaven's compromised. You can see how scared they are of this while this flank comes through in and out of sewers. Stacks with the gun at hand. Ready and waiting. And now he immediately runs up onto the side. He realizes, I've got the spike. I've got to try and play for this. Satchel forwards, Buzz. He swings out wide. Jing still in a fight. The rocket let loose a little bit too close as well. Doesn't really get any damage at all, but they do have that Heaven control. All 3 players now grouped up as well. Starting to see the util. Sails through the sky. It's a snake bite. Looks off the one angle there. Shots. It's an absolute firing range for Mako. And he gets the ult off online. Spray down from Mindfreak.
Very
weak. Damage done. Mako is low. A single bullet and burst will really bring him down, and the whole defense will come crumbling. But still Buzz holding down the one extremity here into elbow. It needs to be that random kill, and the random spray, the last bullet, finds it, isolates it, knows where Buzz is, and he wins it! Just insane.
These are the moments that are making the difference in this match. And Mako's reaction says it all. What are you supposed to do there?
Yeah.
That's almost the exact same spot that we saw how many rounds ago? I can't even remember. 12 rounds ago, something like that.
One enemy remaining.
And this time, a deity guides the bullet straight into Mako's head.
And it brings them one step closer to taking the map.
I mean, just ridiculous scenes. Yeah, you're right.
Do love a fake comeback. Do love a fake comeback, but I want to see DRX bring it to OT. Catching just onto the model.
Yeah, Zest's cape almost just drifting away there.
By playing as well with the judge. Now there's a star at his feet. There is a lot of danger here. I'm pretty sure that will pull him if they choose to use it. That's a recall. Oh, well, okay. Just a start. Propped up. Divide takes the timing. Right around the side there with RB. Follow up with the rifle. Zest containing this deep push as well. Fights all over the place. Missing the shot. Forsaken. Smoke up. Props up the one way. Does he really want to try and get back onto the angle? Zest has got the read on this. He's actually got his crosshair on it.
He's in astral form.
Yep. Star.
Wow.
Up, smokes. The space being gained, but that could be a play to make as well. He's going to be making a call as well that everybody's rotating away.
Yep. That's going to make CGRS and Jing ready for it. CGRS has really struggled in these anchor spots before, but Jing's been excellent with it.
It's one thing to be aware, it's another thing to stop it. They know the hit's coming through onto A, all that space was gathered. There it is with the flash! Re-swing from Jing! And it's up to Zest to try and extend the play. There's no chance in hell. That's 4 to finish for Jing, and map 1 is PRX's.
What a turnaround. Great attempt at a comeback there from DRX too, but I think the damage was absolutely done in the first half. Forsaken was flying, and Jing was consistently amazing throughout. So yeah, that has completely flipped my expectations for this series on its head.
Oh yeah.
I really thought we'd be seeing a weakened PRX out here today. And, you know, CGRS, he filled the gaps on the